Hello, I'm Debbie Kay with the League of Women Voters of Portland. Welcome to Video Voters Guide, or our podcast. We're here today to talk with candidates running in the May 19th, 2026 primary election. The League of Women Voters of Portland is grateful for the support of the Carol and Velma Sailing Foundation, the Weiss Foundation, the Sarah Fruing Fund, members of the League of Women Voters of Portland, and our media partner, Metro East Community Media. Today, we're talking with John Casalino, who is running for Multnomah County Circuit Court Judge in the 4th District, Position 5. Welcome, Mr. Casalino.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Terrific. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and why you are running for this office.
Okay, first, my name is John Casalino, and I'll start out with some personal background. I've been living in Portland since 1996. I'm not blessed to be an Oregonian originally, but I met my wife who grew up here while we were in school. And once we met, I spent a summer in Portland during law school, and we decided that this is the place. Multnomah County is the place that we're going to move, start our lives, and raise our kids. And that's exactly what we've done. Since coming to Portland, my career has been that of a lawyer. I started out in 29 years ago in civil practice. So that means I was working for a firm. And I did that for a little bit, and I realized that I actually was called to public service. In law school, I worked with prosecutors and public defenders, and I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I applied to the Multnomah County DA's office, and that's where I spent most of my legal career. Out of my 29 years as an Oregon lawyer, 24 of them was with the Multnomah County DA's office. And in that capacity, I got the privilege, maybe the honor to serve the community. Most of my time at the Multnomah County DA's office was influenced, I guess, by my upbringing. I concentrated mostly on cases that involved children and families. In that capacity, I worked in the domestic violence unit, shepherding survivors through probably the most difficult times in their life. From doing domestic violence cases, I had I'll use that word privilege again, to move to our child abuse unit, where I handled not only criminal cases, but civil dependency cases, where I got to meet children and families on the worst days of their life and bring them into the courtroom to get this intervention so they would be safe and then they could grow and strengthen their family. For 14 years, all I did was prosecute child abuse cases. And in that capacity, not only, again, did I work with the criminal side, but helped parents become or get, I guess we call, improve their parenting skills. At the Multnomah County DA's office, I rose to chief, which means I was in charge of the Family Justice Division, where I oversaw child abuse, domestic violence, and support enforcement and juvenile justice. I'm running for Multnomah County Judge because 3 reasons. There's a need, I have the experience, and the desire to make it so right now that I can step into the job and continue to serve this county in the matters that impact families the most.
Thank you. What, if any, criminal sentencing reforms would you support?
Well, now I don't want to sound like a lawyer, but I'm going to do this quick because I realize I spent too much time on the first question. When you say sentencing reforms, you mean you're talking about changing laws that you may not personally agree with or that you think should be better. But that's the issue as a judge. There's 2 things. One, Rule 5.1 prohibits us from making promises or pronouncements about matters that may come before us. Because if I was to give a personal opinion about a sentencing law that I didn't like, a lawyer could come and say, I don't want Casalino to hear that case. I'd have to recuse myself or be affidavitted. I'd have to sit on the sidelines instead of serving Multnomah County. But that being said, sentencing the Oregon Constitution, again, talking like a lawyer, the Oregon Constitution, Article 1, Section 150, gives us guideposts about what sentencing should entail. And it entails sentencing should have consider public safety, personal responsibility, accountability, and reformation. Reformation of the offender, that is programming so that there'll be public safety as well as giving that offender or someone who's committed crime the tools to be better. And so as a judge, I commit that I will fairly and impartially review any sentencing decision, but also have the compassion and be aware of a person's own lived experiences.
Thank you. Do you have a preference in assignment within the court if elected? What would it be and why?
Okay. Well, like I've done all my career, I just kind of go, I'll go where there's a need. So in Multnomah County, again, I've worked in that courthouse for 24 years, so I know the assignments. I know that 90% of it is criminal cases. Now, I'll go wherever the presiding judge tells me. However, it is true that my background, my experience lends more towards criminal cases because I'm trusted by both the defense and the prosecution side. That being said, I also can apply my skills and I'd be happy to do civil matters as well. The guiding principle will be that everyone who comes into the courtroom deserves a fair shot. Everyone who comes into the courtroom deserves procedural justice, to have a judge that explains to them exactly what's going on. So, again, I'll do whatever the presiding judge sees there's a need on that day.
Thank you. We are out of time. Thank you, Mr. Casalino. This concludes our Video Voters Guide and podcast interview of the League of Women Voters of Portland with John Casalino, running for Multnomah County Circuit Court Judge in the 4th District, Position 5. Election Day is Tuesday, May 19th. To find additional election resources, including online identification of other candidates and ballot measures on which you may get to vote, please visit the League of Women Voters of Portland's website, lwvpdx.org, and also visit vote411.org, and then exercise your right to vote. Ballots will be mailed out starting April 30th. For your vote to be eligible to be counted, your ballot must be received by the Multnomah County Elections Division or in one of the designated drop boxes within Multnomah County no later than 8 o'clock on Election Day, May 19th. The League of Women Voters of Portland strongly urges that if you are depositing your ballot with the United States Postal Service, do so no later than Tuesday, May 12th, 1 week ahead of the election. Your voice and your vote matter. Thank you for your attention.